Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors, double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops and the elders of GMS who rules well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is Operation Snares Laid. And that's because Donald Trump, Nero 47, and Israel have their operation going on. I believe that Israel is calling it Operation Epic Fury or Lion's War or something, and then America is calling it Operation Epic Fury. And I'm just titling my video Operation Snare Slave because this is a snare against these devils, right? Because the pride of thine heart have deceived them, right? To think they're able to go against Iran and nothing will happen, right? And also just to strive against the Lord Yahweh, right? To try to make their own plans, right? To try to get themselves out of their position. That's why the scriptures talk about, no healing of their bruise and things like that. All right, because they're trying to save themselves. This is Psalms 2. It says, Psalms 21, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh, and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. All right, so these devils, behind the scenes are making plans, to try to, go against the scriptures, go against what Yahweh Bashai has written in the scriptures for them, for their destruction, right? Verse 4 says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord Yahweh Bashai shall have them in derision, right? Confusion, a complex state, right? The scriptures talk about in Isaiah 19, even that, that's a trap. Nero 47 is a trap himself, him being president, this cruel Lord, right? The Most High Yahweh Washai has confounded their counsel, all right, and set up a cruel Lord, right? A fierce king that doesn't, he doesn't, regard the people. You see that the people are complaining. What does he do? He posts this AI video of him in the F-35 raining down excrement, feces on people, all right? He doesn't care about the people. And that's when you get Job 20, where it says that, every hand of the wicked shall come upon them when they're about to fill their belly. Right now, the wicked is going to like your workers, your laboring people. And right now, the laboring people are uproaring in the streets because of the things that this dude, Nero 47, is doing. Right. And they're not with it. So this is another snare, him just being the president. And even so, because on the left hand side, what are they saying? They're saying, we need to accomplish this with Nero 47. Because remember, they have a 2030 agenda where they want the world Michael C. hip before 2030. Now we're in 2026 right now, so it's not that many years left. And the scriptures say that unless those days are shortened, right? No flesh will be saved. So the time is going to speed up, and the devil is going to come out with a great wrath because he has a short time. All right, but let me grab this real quick. Isaiah 19:3 says, "In the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards." So these devils on the left hand are, trying to, reach out to these, different left hand sources, demons. They got the AI. I believe it was Elon Musk that said, AI is demons, or whatever the case may be. And so they're asking this left hand technology for the answers. But the Most High Yahweh Bashai controls all. And as you can see, everything they're doing is written in the scripture. They're playing out prophecy. So they're not doing their own will, because they would actually be able to do something different that's not written in the scriptures, right? To go against the scriptures, they come up with a different plan. But everything they're doing and have been doing is lining up directly with scriptures. And we're proclaiming this thing around the whole world, right? So at one point in time, they have heard the prophets say these things, and they haven't switched up. They haven't changed, right? They didn't do anything different. They're continuing to do exactly what we said they would do according to the scriptures. And we said this before they did it, right? Just like now, we're telling you that they're going to come with a chip. Why not do something else? They can't, right? So whatever source they're talking to on the left hand, is working for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and it's leading them to their destruction. All right, and it's a snare, right? The Most High allowed them to have the ability to tap into these different things, but it's going to lead them nowhere. Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47, and I'll just get it from 12. It says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. So the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahushai knows that these devils are, doing these rituals, the sorceries, the enchantments, and all that stuff behind the scenes, right? He's controlling this, all right, because they're playing out their role. They're the hammer of the earth, right? They're the wicked, right? And they're punishing the whole world. Look at what it's doing to these other nations. Now these other nations are not innocent. They also had a part to play in our downfall. Defiling our lands and different things. So Esau going around doing what he's doing is just judgment for the people, for these people. All right. Read that again. Isaiah 47:12. It says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. All right. So the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahushai knows that these devils are, doing the things that they're doing. It says, thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So here is again, all right, telling you, and I think in the NLT, this thing says Israel's taunt. Let me see. Okay, no, there's something else. That's what I call it, like a taunt. Like, just like, go ahead and try that shit you've been trying and see if it's going to help you. And the answer is no. All right, it says, let these different individuals, these sorcerers and warlocks save you from the things that they're seeing and saying. What's your way out? And there is none. It says, behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. So ultimately, they all end up destroyed, right? And there is no way around it, right? So this is another major snare for the devil. Now, the situation regarding this strife in Iran. All right. The point of this video is basically saying that, things can speed up from here. All right. Because they're already talking about escalations, right? And it leading to further aggression and different things beyond the region, right? And we know what, Revelations 11 and 14 tells us regarding the third woe, right? Which would be World War III. So Revelations 11 and 14 says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. All right. And things could very well speed up because of this thing that had just started, and we know pursuant to Ezekiel 38, right, that Russia will be joined with Iran. So this could be the thing that does it. All right. This war right here between Israel, America, and Iran, and it could escalate to something greater. And if that is the case, and this does start to escalate, things will start moving quicker, because the chip will have to come out, because basically World War III will end with the return of our Lord Yahushai and also the nuclear missiles being shot. So if it's heating up, things, like I said, I say things may move quicker, right? And the scriptures say that the day shall be shortened. All right. So I'll read this article where it says aggression against Iran may lead to escalation beyond region. This is Russian envoy, which is important because pursuant to Ezekiel 38, Russia is going to be joined with the Persians to come against Israel and America. And as you can see the size right now is Israel and America fighting Iran. All right. And this is still fresh news, right? The attacks started last night or something like that, or like 5 a.m. in the morning or something. People was like, yo, so it says the aggression against Iran has already turned into a regional escalation that may go far beyond the Middle East. The Russian permanent representative to United Nations said at the extraordinary meeting of the UN Council. All right. So they're having emergency meetings. They're having these UN, meetings, and they're saying it's already turned into regional escalation, and that's because Iran. I guess Iran is like attacking everybody. Every U.S. base around them is getting attacked. Right? It says the aggression that today Iran was exposed to has already turned into the escalation in the region and may go far beyond its borders. See, so they're saying it's going to go far beyond Iran's borders, right? So it may extend to people hopping in, right? Because you already got America in there and Israel in there. So how much further are we talking about? Are we talking about Russia and China, all right, and the rest of them, the EU, NATO, right? It says the operation of Israel and the United States has become the real betrayal of diplomacy. The Russian diplomat noted, and that's another thing. These devils are being exposed. Everyone sees these devils for who they are, breaking agreements, right? You get the scriptures, I'll get them. Psalms 55:20 says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Right, and that goes into the fact that they're out here trying to do these peace agreements, peace deals, right? Having the people coming over for the meetings and saying, yeah, things are looking good. We may have a deal and things like that. But ultimately, they have a plan, right? They're trying to execute, right? And people around the world are figuring that out. Isaiah 32:5, it says, the vile person shall no more be called liberal, no more, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl saith be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter ever against the Lord Yahweh Bashar, to make empty the souls of the hungry, and to cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. These devils are some of the main attacks were attacks on like school buildings, killing children. I've seen reports of like, I don't know, like 160, 150 children, and they said the total number of casualties already is like, I think like 200 or more or something. Most of those are children. So these people are just wicked devils. It says the instruments also the true are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak of right. All right. So the people around the world are figuring that out. It says these countries are using the military force against Iran again when the talks are in full swing. It is exactly like it occurred in June 2025. So the devil is doing the same thing he's been doing, being the wicked, right? Not abiding by the certain UN regulations and laws and things like that set up in the world, right, to keep the world somewhat safe. So let me show you those things I was talking about real quick. So we got nearly 90 children killed in missile strikes on 3 schools in Iran. Like, why the hell are they attacking the schools? And this is all I'm seeing, right? Oh, it's over 200 killed, more than 700 injured in strikes on Iran. All right, 200 killed, 700 injured. Look, death toll in Iranian school strikes near 160. So they just said 200 killed and 700 injured. The death, all of them deaths is from children. So it's just rising. Death toll from strike on school in southern Iran climbs to 85. Why are they just attacking these schools? So they're in the UN Council right now. Russia is saying, "Look, stop what you're doing." You know. So anyway, that's where I seen it at. But like I was saying, a regional war this thing can escalate, right, into other regional territories, and basically that's just inviting China and Russia into the mix. All right, grab this Jeremiah 50 because a snare. Going back to the top of my video, a snare, right? Operation Snares laid. right? The scriptures say that it's the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Shai that must be the host of the battle, right? He's gathering the nations together for war, right? So he dragged America to somewhere, just like the scriptures say, the least of the flock will drag them out. Here at the bottom, Jeremiah 15:45, the least of the flock will drag them out, right, to this war. And they're not ready for it. They can't. And people are saying even now that they got about, I don't know what they say. Let's just say a couple of weeks or so before they run out of missiles. You know, they're saying the generals and things like that are telling, the president, like, we have this much amount of ammo to do this, and we only can last for this amount of time. So that's not smart at all. That's why it's a snake, right? You're fighting somebody that has showed you like so much missiles, right? So many missiles underground and things like that, and their goals is even to destroy those like the launching sites and things like that, because obviously that's a problem. But anyway, Jeremiah 15:45 says, therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right? So that's exactly what had happened. Right. And it's a whole snare. As a matter of fact, it is a snare, because you started up here. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and it ends with saying Israel will drag you out to the war. All right. It says Jeremiah 50:22, a sound of battle was in the land and of great destruction. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. So this is the Lord's work, right? A snare is laid for Babylon, right? And that snare is what they have just done, right? And like I said before, they already did attack Iran and backed up, right? And now they're attacking again. So maybe that's a situation that could happen again. But at one point, pursuant to Joel 3, and I'm feeling like this time now, maybe something might kick off with it. We'll have to see. But Joel 3 says, in 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all men of war draw near, let them come up. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. So, America is beating up on these weaker nations, and able to go in there, give them a three-piece or whatever the case may be, and dip out. But it's going to come a point in time where they can no longer do that, basically, and these nations will rise up and do something. So what Russia's saying, it could be, it could extend, out beyond the borders and things like that. It says more than 100 children died in strike against school in Iran. So this just updated. All right. So it's all a bunch of children that's dying over in Iran from these bomb strikes that are happening. And they're saying they're not happy about that. The one dude, where he at? Here we go. So it says this dude right here. All right. It says Iranian foreign minister told his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov about the U.S. and Israeli strike on an elementary school for girls in the southern city of Minab, which killed more than 60 female students. Okay, it says the foreign minister speaking about the attacks on various Iranian cities, including the morning rocket attack on the school, which killed at least 51 innocent girls, called this military aggression a gross violation of the basic principles of the UN Charter and a clear crime against peace and international security, emphasizing Iran's, inability and inalienable right to defend the country with all his might. So they're upset about that, of course, obviously, right? So this thing could heat up. So Jeremiah 50, I was over here. I was finished with this stuff. Finished with this. All right, going back over here, Jeremiah 50 and 26, it says, "Come against her from the utmost border, open for in the aim." Let's see what it's saying in NO2. It says, yes, come against her from distant lands. That's what he's talking about. Where it's talking about, beyond the border. All right. And they said it's already happening. It says the aggression that today Iran was exposed to has already turned into the escalation in the region and may go far beyond its borders. Yes, facts. The scripture says it's going to happen. Right here, NLT says, yes, come against her from distant lands. Break open her granaries, crush her walls and houses into heaps of rubble, destroy her completely, and leave nothing. All right, KJV, Jeremiah 50 and 26 says, come against her from the utmost border. Open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. All right. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashai, our power, the vengeance of his temple. It says, listen to the people who have escaped from Babylon as they tell in Jerusalem how the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashai, our power, has taken vengeance against those who destroy his temple. Right. And that's what we're saying right now. We're proclaiming it to the world right now, right? The things that's about to come upon Babylon the Great. All right, call together the archers against Babylon, and all you that bend the bow, camp against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, to do unto her. For she hath been proud against the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai, against the Holy One of Israel. Yeah, these devils super proud against the Lord, right? And they're out here blowing up schools and children and things like that. You know, these innocent, children have nothing to do with what's happening. All right, but war. It says, therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai host. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Yeah, so this statement is true, regarding that thing increasing, which will lead into World War III, right? It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shah of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were pressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast, they refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong, the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shah of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet inhabitants of Babylon. Yeah, because they're in our land right now, mashing it up, right? Committing abominations and things. It says, a sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashai, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. And that's what's happening right now, right? The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight, right? You got Iran hitting damn near every military base in the region, right? And they're saying that those are the basic missiles, right? Those are just things that they just had over. They say, well, old money, they got old missiles. All right. It says, a sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Yeah, that sword is definitely aimed at America and Israel, right? And it's growing. People around the world are, figuring out about this devil, right? And the things that they're causing, and how they're causing the world to go into the condition that it's going into, right? EU NATO is upset about what's happening, right? It says, a drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols, right? All these idols, right? It says, therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there. So this is after the destruction, right? Going into Isaiah 13 and 14. Isaiah 13, after the destruction, the wild animals, desert creatures are going to be here after the destruction, right? You go into Joel 2, where it talks about the land is a garden, the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, right? Which is going to be after the missiles hit this place, Babylon. And these creatures are going to be able to live here. It says, therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there, and the owl shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As Yahweh Bashmiel Shai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, right, with fire and brimstone rained down upon these cities and in the neighboring cities, right, and there's nothing left. That's what happened to America in Israel, right? It says, as Yahweh Bashmiel Shai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. All right, and ultimately, you know, things got to move quick, especially if this is the strike, the attack that is going to basically cause this to spread out to regional, spread out to the other borders, basically having people come in and try to help Iran, and then it becomes World War III. Things are going to move quicker, right? And shit going to hit home here, right? Because they have to bring in some type of event so they can bring forth the MOTB, right? Because if they're losing the war, which they're going to lose the war, and this is it, then they're gonna try to save themselves, right? Try to come up with their master plan or something, whatever the case may be. So Matthew, so I just want to grab this point right here. Matthew 24 and 22 says, and except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Right. So time is going to be cut short, right? Esau Edom is coming down with great wrath because he had but a short time. So, like I was just saying, if this is the strike that starts this event of basically World War III and the different people being brought into it, they're going to move quicker, all right? Because they have a short time. Revelation 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath because he knoweth they have but a short time. All right, and especially, he has a short time with the missiles. He has a limited amount of missiles that he can use for his wars. What they're saying, and I said to myself, I was like, well, shit. Once they run out of missiles, they might have to use something bigger. What is it? They call it like pocket nukes, strategic, bombs and things like that, and that's definitely gonna draw in people. All right, so we'll see, but we're keeping our eyes on it. And like I said, this is new. I seen Trump say it was like this guy's dead, and recently posted they said so they said he was dead, which I don't believe them. I'm gonna wait on Iran to tell me that, but it was Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu saying that this dude right here is dead. Right, but then he posted something on his X. Okay, so we still got to see. All right, so pretty much that's all I had. Lord willing, we edify from the lesson. Shalom to the whole elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.